I stand here tonight with a heavy heart, and I'm disappointed in humanity. And I'm tired. I'm tired of reading about another trans person being viciously murdered. I'm tired of hearing the Bible used as a tool to justify hate. I'm tired of seeing trans folk consistently being left out of the political discourse, of politicians putting political expediency over principle when it comes to these issues. And I'm tired of having to console trans youth when they tell me they want to end their own life or that they fear for their safety. There is no reason we should be standing here tonight. Our society must move beyond the narrow binary of male and female and embrace the beautiful rainbow of all gender identities. And we must demand more than tolerance, because tolerance is demeaning, tolerance is indifferent, tolerance does not seek justice and finds comfort in the status quo. We must expect more. We must expect more from our elected officials, our community, and ourselves. And we must demand more from our educators, because school is not a safe place for transgender and gender non-conforming youth.
Let's give it up for Maru Gonzalez. Trans ally, that is an honor to know you. And this is what school counselors in Georgia should look like. Right. Schools aren't a safe place for trans youth, which is why we formed the Georgia Safe Schools Coalition. And many of the members of Georgia Safe Schools Coalition are in the audience tonight. Our mission isn't to reduce homophobia and trans prejudice. It's actually to eliminate it. That means to end it in schools by educating school personnel about issues affecting trans youth and actually all queer students and families. We work at the intersection, so we're not just going to work on trans prejudice and heterosexism. We're going to work on racism and classism. We get it, ableism, xenophobia. We're not going to leave out immigrant issues, because we're actually working in all those oppressions, because we know it starts early, right? And just in the first 2 months of our existence, we worked to place 2 trans youth in Georgia. And it doesn't just happen like in Atlanta schools. These are Hall County, Fayette County, as Jamie was so eloquently saying. We have to talk about these things at all the reaches of Georgia. We've been working with Georgia Equality, PFLAG, Georgia School Counselors, Lambda Legal. We have so many good resources here in Georgia that we can make a difference in the lives of trans youth. We actually want to turn this story around, because trans youth stories start in schools. So, if you will with me for a moment, if you could just close your eyes. And I want to take you on a journey back to your school. Yeah. Your elementary school. And I want you to think about your first day of school. And I want you to imagine that school is a place safe for trans youth in elementary school. And I'm sorry to do this to you, but now I'm going to take you to middle school. Remember that?
Try not to.
Try not to, but guess what? What if that was a safe place for trans middle school students? And now I want to take you to high school. You're almost done. And that is a place in Georgia where we want to make sure that is safe for all trans youth. Our mission is to get this sticker. Yes, it's very gay. It's got the rainbow, but it's part of our mission to have trans youth be safe in schools. And we're not stopping till one of these is in every school in Georgia. And if you think we're going to quit, we ain't. And we need help. So if you know school teachers and school counselors, let us know. Because schools need to be a place that we're proud to send our trans youth. They need to be a place where their resilience is strengthened and not torn down. In the words of Dr. King, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. As trans allies, we've got to keep fighting.
And as trans allies, we can't be silenced by fear, we can't be silenced by comfort, and we can't be silenced by the benefits of our own privilege. We have to join the fight, because this is more than just about equality, it's about community. And in the words of Emma Lazarus, until we are all free, we are none of us free. Justice is indivisible. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, activists, community organizers, in a good way, elected officials, friends, and those of you who are all of those things. To Tracy and the organizing committee, thank you for inviting me to speak. I'm deeply honored to be here. I'm not a great public speaker, so please forgive me. This is one of the very few times you'll ever see me in front of a crowd this big. However, I put aside my nervousness, self-consciousness to share with you my experience this year in service to seeing that we achieve full equality under the law and to educate the greater community about us, our lives, and how to lobby for those changes. This spring, I had the distinct pleasure to lobby with 5 members of the Georgia trans community, 2 who are here this evening. You would stand up and come on, get my back like you did on the Hill. We were there to press for passage of the hate crimes bill and the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. Our delegation was organized by the National Center for Transgender Equality, along with several hundred citizen lobbyists from all around the country. We had meetings with congressional staff, senatorial staff, and in some cases, the Congress member themselves. Over the course of those couple days, I listened and watched how people who did not claim to be an activist before found their voice and told truth to power. No one can tell your story better than you can. As we will be a witness to this very evening, trans people are subject to unconscionable levels of bias-motivated violence. Elected officials, their staff, and our community need to hear these stories. The hate crimes bill is important for so many reasons, not the least of which mandates federal intervention if the local law enforcement is unable or unwilling to investigate. Within days of us being there, the hate crimes bill moved out of committee. And yes, it was because of the 5 of us. And it went on to pass on October 28th. This took a decade of all of us fighting. The bill is important, but it is the tip of the iceberg of many laws that we need citizen activists to engage with their elected officials on, whether it's local ordinances, state law, or federal law. To some of you, it seems daunting to venture out of safe spaces. The very idea of storming the Hill probably isn't on your list of things to do today. Likely there are people here tonight who thought the same thing. But let me tell you about my friend Giselle. All protestations of inexperience and shyness to the contrary, she showed us, been there, done that crowd, a thing or two how to engage a congressional staffer, a very hostile congressional staffer. She followed up with them in a professional way, took the situation, turned it around in her favor, and it was a sight to behold. A couple months later, we were marching side by side in DC on a beautiful day up to the Capitol, and I teased her as she had come a long way, baby. Each time I come to this event, I am hopeful that those of you attending for the first time will be inspired by someone's story and will get engaged. Your community needs you. And one follow-up thing, to follow up on those who have said you need to be at the table. Well, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. That's right.